Welcome to my channel. I'm Scott and we're going to do a sponsored video on gold mining. This company trades on the TSX under ticker GOLD and it trades in the US under ticker GLDG. This company is a junior miner, so it raises money to conduct feasibility studies to identify gold or other commodities. After they identify how much gold is at a particular location, they usually sell the rights to the location to a senior miner. A senior miner is a much larger company that's well capitalized that has lots of experience. Examples of senior miners are Barrick and Newmont. In the company's portfolio, they have 16.2 million ounces of gold. They're setting up a separate company to focus on the Whistler Gold Project. This is located in Alaska. They currently own 15% of Gold Royalty Corp, ticker GROY. That company has a market cap of $360 million. And this 15% ownership provides this company $800,000 of dividends per year. They also have a $20 million credit facility with the Bank of Montreal, 20 million shares of GROY, and 9.1 million in cash. Here's a visual of some of their projects. Here's the Whistler project in Alaska, Almaden in the US, Rhea and Yellowknife in Canada. They also have a bunch of locations in South America. The total gold in all their projects is 12.5 million measured ounces or 13.5 million inferred ounces. Because you never really know how much gold is at a particular location until you start excavating and breaking the rock. They have 10 million of measured silver and 16.8 million of inferred, 1.6 billion pounds of copper, 1.1 billion pounds inferred. So the gold equivalent is 16.2 million ounces. The way they calculate gold equivalent is they assumed if they sold all the silver and copper at the current price and used that money to buy gold, they would have a total of 16.2 million ounces of gold. So the gold is 12.5 million ounces and 3.7 million worth of gold if they sold the silver and copper. 81% of their portfolio is gold, 18% is copper. If the price of copper or gold went up a lot, then their stock price will probably go up. Since 2012, the amount of gold reserves has been declining. It was 967 million ounces. In 2020, it's 582 million. So this gives opportunity for companies like this to take market share. The way they calculate total gold reserves is they look at the biggest companies and calculate their reserves. Companies like Agnico, Barrick, Freeport-McMoRan, Kinross, etc. They spent 81 million in acquisitions from 2012 to 2020. Here are some of the companies they acquired: Brazilian Gold Corp, Belhaven Sunward, all pretty small companies. So their enterprise value today is 222 million. Plus, if you add the shares from Gold Royalty and their cash, that's another 116 million. So the value of the company is close to 400 million Canadian dollars. They have 150 million shares outstanding, 12 million options, so fully diluted is 163 million. Their market cap is 256 million Canadian dollars. It's a little lower now. This presentation was done last month. I know they have a lot of big partners and backers. Rick Rule and Doug Casey are involved in this company. Also BlackRock, Ruffer, KCR, Sprott, etc. And here's a list of the 4 analysts that are covering the stock. H.C. Wainwright had a price target for this company of $6, and they're trading well below that. Last month, the stock on the TSX was trading at 170, now it's 136. The daily trading volume is about 370,000 shares. In the US, it's close to 1 million. And they have 9 million of cash on their balance sheet, 12.6 million of debt. They have 3 royalties in Alaska, 3 in Idaho, also in Oregon, a lot in Nevada, 77, 64 in Quebec, New Mexico, Ontario, Saskatchewan, 5 royalties in Northwest Canada. They also have locations in Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. For their Odyssey location, they have a 3% net smelter return. That's the revenue received from the sale of a mine. 1.5% in the Carlin complex and 1% in the Bulford mine. The Whistler project in Alaska has 3 million gold ounces measured and 6.5 million ounces inferred. And it's a big property, 42,000 acres. And they plan to have this mine operate within a separate public company through an IPO. Accessibility is such an important part when extracting metal from a location. Say you own the rights for $1 million of gold at a location, but it was so hard to get there And once you got there, there was no electricity or running water, so you had to bring all that with you. So it may not even be worth it to pull the metal. It may be too expensive. But their location in Alaska is close enough to Anchorage where they can just fly into Anchorage anytime they want. There is an existing ice road for access, which isn't ideal, but there still seems to be projects in place where they're going to build road access. Another thing to consider when looking at a junior miner is understanding permitting, because some places make it really difficult to obtain permits. So if you can't obtain a permit to start digging, then the gold is worthless. But at this location, they say it's pretty straightforward. And you need to be pretty close to civilization because you need to transport workers to the mine. If it's really expensive to transport people there, it may not make sense to move forward the project. And there's potential access to a gas pipeline, which is important because you need gas and electric to use some of the equipment. The grade of gold is on the lower end. It's only 0.51. 0 to 0.5 is low grade. 0.5 to 1.5 is average grade, and above 1.5 is high grade. This is on the low end of average grade, but the gold equivalent is better at 0.79. And there's easily accessible porphyry deposits. Porphyry contains mostly copper, also some gold. There's already been 70,000 meters of diamond drilling completed, so that does lessen the amount of work this company has to do in order to pull the metal. And once they complete the Whistler project, there's 3 more areas that's going to be easier to explore. The Raintree West, Raintree East, and Rainmaker. Another location they have is the Pará state in Brazil. And this is the second most active mining state in the country of Brazil. This location is road accessible and it has access to power and water. And the corporate taxes are pretty low, only 15%. That's another thing to consider, the taxes. Because it's possible to make more money bringing in $1 million at one location as opposed to $1.5 million at another location. And they should have a pretty easy time getting permits. These are the 4 projects in the Pará state. São Jorge has a really high grade, 1.55. Above 1.5 is high grade. 1.23 is also pretty good. That's in the middle of the average grade. And both have about 700,000 ounces of gold. There's 2 other projects in Brazil, one with 500,000 ounces inferred, and another with 336,000 ounces. And the grade in both are average. There's already been 37,000 meters of drilling across 145 holes performed. And 90% of the area has been unexplored, so you never know how much gold you're going to pull. And they have pretty high grades in this location, 1.55 measured and 1.27 inferred. And there's 2 projects from other companies, and the grade is 1.33 and 1.06. They also have another project in Brazil with 700,000 measured ounces and a grade of 1.2. There's already been some drilling done by other companies, 31,000 meters across 285 holes. That's going to save this company money since some of the infrastructure has already been done. They also have a location in the Mid-Cauca Belt in Colombia. This is one of the most prospective gold belts in the world. Already in the past 10 years, 100 million ounces of gold have been discovered. And the government is really trying to encourage companies to come and drill there because it boosts the economy. And it's much more underexplored than Peru, Chile, and Argentina. And this company owns 100% of the projects. It's not shared by anyone else. They've already drilled 431 holes. A big plus, it's near a high power electrical grid and also a large water source. In Colombia, they have 8.9 million ounces measured and 5.6 million ounces inferred. One of the locations has a grade of 0.56, which is on the lower end. 1.09 is pretty close to average. The higher the grade, the higher the density of gold. The mine life in La Mina, Colombia is 10.4 years, and it has an after-tax NPV of $231 million. As long as the project has a positive NPV, you'd want to approve it. But of course, you don't have to approve every project. If you only have enough manpower for one project, you want to take the one with the highest NPV. The internal rate of return is 15%. That's a discount rate to make the NPV equal to 0. So generally, the higher the IRR, the better. These calculations assume the price of copper is $3.39 a pound, gold is $1,600 an ounce, and silver is $21 an ounce. So for example, if the price of gold doubled, then the NPV shoots way up. Because the price to pull the gold stays the same, but now you could sell at a much higher price. And if the price of gold was cut in half, then NPV may be negative and it may not be worth taking on the project. Look how high the grade is in Yellowknife, 2.33. This is really high quality gold, and they measured over 1 million ounces. Already there's been $60 million spent on exploration, the camp, and other workings. So that's $60 million less they have to spend on this project. And there's a local workforce close to this area that's highly skilled. So that's also a big benefit. The Almaden location in Boise, that has 900,000 ounces of gold measured, 160,000 inferred. The grade is kind of low. It's at the lower end of average, 0.65. But the location is fairly close to Boise, 100 kilometers away. And there's already drilling done in over 70,000 meters. They have a bunch of locations in Peru, and Peru is the second largest producer of copper in the world and sixth in gold. Mining is really important to the economy. It's 13% of their GDP, 61% of their exports. But they do have a high corporate tax, almost 30%. And these locations are road accessible and near a power grid. Their Crucero location has an average grade of 1 and roughly 1 million ounces of gold. They own 75% of the location in Saskatchewan. Orano owns 25%. Orano is located in Canada. They're a private uranium mining company. And this area is home to some of the highest grade uranium mines. Most of the uranium is used to fuel nuclear power plants. And nuclear power plants generate about 20% of electricity in the United States. So you can see what an opportunity gold mining is. It's going to IPO a separate company to really focus on the Whistler project. It has one of the largest portfolios of gold and gold copper resources of any junior miner. They have a really experienced team. They bring in lots of cash flow just from the dividends on gold royalty. A strong balance sheet with a $20 million credit facility from Bank of Montreal. Here's an overview of all their projects. Here's a list of the grades. You can see a lot of them are in the 1s and 2s. They have 16.2 million ounces of gold equivalent. The largest location is Whistler at 6.45 million ounces. All the locations have gold, but some have silver and copper. And earlier we talked about the opportunity to add uranium. Their chairman, Amir Adani, is a CEO of Uranium Energy Corp. He's also the chairman of Uranium Royalty Corp. So it really seems like a junior miner with some great potential. Let me know what you think. Give this video a like, subscribe, or comment below. Also, if you'd like to get a custom valuation or just support the channel, you can become a member by clicking on the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.